everyone. Welcome to the Metal Mayhem ROC YouTube channel. On today's episode, I'm joined by Miika and Arttu, vocalist and drummer from the Finnish heavy metal band Satan's Fall. They join us from Helsinki, Finland today to talk about the band's brand new album, a good one called Destination Destruction. So guys, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well,
So I am located in New Jersey on the East Coast. You guys are in Helsinki, which is all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and very, very far away. So, it's funny. We started our calendar year in 2023 with the first interview we did with Norwegian metal band NWOTHM. Are you familiar with NWOTHM?
NWOTHM, yeah, I know that one. Weren't they in Eurovision one?
Yes, they won the Eurovision Championship, and we had the guitar player Trond on. So it was very snowy, and it was late January. So now this may be my last interview of the year, and it's funny how we're finishing now in Finland. So
yeah, and it just started to snow here. So
wow, amazing. So a little bit about Finland, because our audience is in America. So I don't know if you know this, but in the United States, this is the beginning of our holiday season. Tomorrow we have U.S. Thanksgiving. So it's a big holiday in America where we have a big feast to celebrate, the settlers coming in from Europe and eventually meeting the natives. And we have a big dinner and a lot of drinking of beer and wine. So, but I read something in Finland folklore that says the original or hometown of Santa Claus is not in the North Pole, but it's in Finland. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's true, in Lapland.
In Lapland. So how is that? Have you gone up there to see the Christmas villages?
No, unfortunately, never been to Lapland, but maybe I'll get around to it next year.
I once went to Lapland. It was like really close to the Russian border, but didn't go to the Christmas village.
Okay.
Haven't seen that one.
Well, I'll have to mention it to my children. My youngest daughter, who's 9, I'll have to tell her I spoke to guys that have been near where Santa Claus's original hometown is.
Yeah, it is actually like really dark stuff. Joulupukki, which is Santa Claus in Finland. He wasn't like a nice guy in the beginning. He was like with horns and stuff like, look, Pukki is like a male goat, so...
Wow, very heavy metal-ish. Heavy metal.
He was there to scare the children and bring them coal and stuff like that if they were naughty, and spank them and whatnot. So. I like that version better.
It sounds like it's perfect for you guys to write an eventual Christmas heavy metal song with that original character. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, definitely. Got to get around to it. Well,
exactly.
Well, we already had the Swines for Slaughter, so I think it's Christmassy.
Yeah.
Song.
Yes, I actually love that song. So a little bit later, we're going to talk in depth about the new album and the songs on it. So a little bit about Finland, the history here. So again, I read something that Finland is known as the happiest country in the world. And it's also, little known fact, it's where the famous video game Angry Birds came from.
Yeah, that's true. At least for the Angry Birds, I don't know. Supposedly it's the happiest country, but I don't know how sad you all else are.
I wonder what makes Finland so happy. Is it the northern lights and maybe long days in the summer and all the saunas and the beautiful places to go?
Yeah, sauna and beer, probably.
Oh, yeah. Beer, of course.
Yeah.
Beer, of course.
Yeah.
So guys, let's talk a little bit about Finland in heavy metal history, right? So, of course, there's so many great bands that come out of Finland. Children of Bodom, Nightwish, of course, Hanoi Rocks, Lordi, Stratovarius, Santa Cruz is maybe one of the newer ones. So maybe talk a little bit about your experiences with Finland heavy metal history, and like if you compared yourself to, let's say, the Swedish scene or the Norwegian scene, like, what does it mean to you guys?
Well, I think first touch with Finnish heavy metal must have been like beginning of the 90s with like there was this Norwegian black metal movement then with Mayhem and stuff like that. And there was this Finnish band Amorphis And my sister used to listen to that, and I was like, and maybe 8-10 years old, somewhere around that time, and I started to listen to that stuff, of course, because my sister listened to it. So that's when I got my Finnish metal baptism, I guess.
Okay.
And going around to that, then of course I had this, well, you could say like a glam phase when of course, the Hanoi Rocks were a big thing, and got to meet Andy McCoy and stuff like that. So it's been more like the rock and roll stuff in Finland mostly, but for metal, then of course Nightwish and whatever came around. But there's also the band called Stone, which everybody should check out.
And Stone.
Stone, yeah. And Tarot. That was
Tarot and Stone. What is Stone? What kind of metal is that? Is it traditional metal?
It's basically thrash metal.
Okay.
And they were kind of early stuff back in the like 80s. So.
Okay. Now, because I think, again, Michael Monroe and Hanoi Rocks are probably the most famous rock band to ever come out of Finland. Have you ever had a chance to see Michael Monroe in concert or maybe meet him?
Yeah, like I've seen him in concert, I think, close to 20 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I was, and still am a big fan. So.
Wow. And Arttu, how about for you? Like, what are your influences? Do your influences come from the bands of Finland or other bands in Europe and things like that?
Not that much from Finland. Like there is Stone, of course. That was one of them. I used to listen to him quite a lot when I was a bit younger. But mostly all my influences are from like USA, Sweden, probably somewhere around the Europe and that kind of stuff. Mostly like heavy metal, punk rock, and doom metal.
Okay. I was going to ask you guys because what I'm always intrigued is I'm 53 years old, but finding newer, younger metal bands that carry the heavy metal traditional sound. There's a lot of great ones out there, and you're another one that really checks all of those boxes. So just how old are you guys? What is your age for you guys in the band?
Yeah, well, he's the young guy. You can go first.
I'm 19.
Wow.
Yeah, the young master, and I'm 38, so I'm not that young anymore.
Okay, so 38, but still in comparison, so you definitely had to have an upbringing. So knowing your age, like what were your influences? Because I do hear a lot of traditional metal sound. I think I could categorize you guys as fitting into that new wave of traditional heavy metal and power metal sound. So what were some of the bands that you learned to love growing up, and what made you get inspired to play heavy metal?
Well, for me first, I think I came by with black metal stuff, and then I drifted into more of like hard rock and stuff like that, listening to AC/DC and Guns N' Roses and stuff like that, you know, the melodic hard rock stuff, Whitesnake and stuff like that. And then for metal, probably my favorites are like Judas Priest and Wasp. So those are the two that mainly influence maybe my vocal style and like, you know, songwriting, make those catchy melodies and stuff like that and scream your lungs off. So.
Because I do notice that one of the signature sounds of Satan's Fall is the twin guitar sound. So like you mentioned Judas Priest, I think of Judas Priest, I think of Iron Maiden, I think of Accept. I mean, these are bands that always had the formidable, strong dual guitar sound. So I think you've carried that forward, and it's evident in the new music. So Arttu, what about you? Like you say you're highly influenced by doom metal. What are some of your favorite doom metal bands? Being only 19. My son is 19. You're the same age as him. And he does not like heavy metal at all.
Well, I think the one I would listen to the most is probably the band called Conan. It's like sludgy doom metal. If we count Black Sabbath as doom, then Black Sabbath is a big influence, and then even further, Sun O, the drone metal band. They just managed to create this absolutely incredible like atmosphere with the only guitars. So I think that's for doom metal, basically.
And probably for our sound, the Iron Maiden is a big one, also with the twin guitars and stuff like that. So,
yes, we were having a friendly debate amongst all our heavy metal friends this morning in the U.S. A text message debate about Judas Priest and does the sound of the band still remain the same with no KK Downing and Richie Faulkner and Glenn Tipton, but of course not the original members. I'm in more of the opinion that the sound of the band is still there, and they put out some new material that I think is good. There's other friends that say, well, you can never get the sound unless you use the original players. What do you think about that?
Well, for me as a vocalist and a person who doesn't know that much about guitar playing, I just watch it, love that stuff. So I think the sound has remained mostly consistent because Halford is there, but maybe some guitar player has some different opinions on that.
But I think that it has somewhat remained. Some things are not the same, but mostly the same about.
Yeah. But the sound is on. I just listened to the KK Priest new album, and I think it also has the Judas Priest sound. So what do I know?
Right. Well, you get sometimes you get two products out of it, right? Mm-hmm. Which is just as good. But that makes for a friendly debate. So I know, and talking about bands like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, I know the festival scene in Europe is always tremendously big. I could say my only experience ever coming over to, let's say, the Nordic part of the world, I did attend Sweden Rock back in 2012, which was an amazing experience for me to be able to fly directly from New Jersey to Copenhagen, Denmark, and then take a train up to Salzburg. But have you, as young metal band, have you been to some of those festivals in Europe, in Finland and Sweden?
Well, in Finland, of course, visited those festivals and played some smaller ones. And hopefully we'll get some slots there too for maybe next summer or summer after that. But we played smaller festivals like in Germany and stuff like that. But yeah, the festival scene is really rich. I think for Germany, for example, there are those small heavy metal festivals with 3 days of obscure metal bands from from back in the day and the newer bands. So it's a very lively scene and the crowds are wild. So those are always nice to go.
When you performed in some of the smaller festivals, were there any major bands that maybe you were opening for?
Well, one time we were opening, there was a Grim Reaper. I don't know, you know that one, sadly.
Yeah.
Stevie G passed away, but
yeah,
that we got to meet him, and yeah, that was one of the highlights, of course.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, maybe before we get into the new album, I wanted to talk a little bit about the origins of Satan Fall. You put out the album Final Day in 2020. I think there were some EPs released with some songs that maybe were compiled onto a disc. But just how long has the band been together? When did you guys form?
Yeah, well, the band was formed 2015, and it was basically our guitar player Tommy wanted to drink beer at the rehearsal place and do some riffs with his buddy, and then somehow some drummer came along, like Kride, who was the first drummer, and that was Makkonen, sorry, who came to the fold, and then they got a singer and bass player Joni, who is still in the band, and it's this was never, I guess, supposed to be a band, but somehow it caught on, with the speed metal stuff, and I came to Fold at 2017, and then we started to do those little festivals and stuff like that, and start writing the album, a new song. So,
wow.
So I wasn't with those EPs, but for Final Day we wrote those songs together then.
So where did the name of the band come from? I'm curious. Satan's Fall, because it's a cool name.
Yeah. It was supposed to be first Satan's Cross. We were talking about that, but unfortunately there was some, I think, band from Mexico or Brazil or something like that called Satan's Cross, and then they just said, yeah, maybe it could be like Satan's Fall. So that's how it came. So not actually relation to Merciful Fate song, but why not?
That
So
was
that's where it comes from.
that was going to be my question, because there is that awesome Merciful Fate song, Satan's Fall. I thought maybe inspiration, but you could.
I
you
think
could also...
maybe it was in the back of their heads or something like that, but not really meant to be from that. And of course, with the Satan Lucifer being like the first rebel, it really works with the, I think, lyrical nature of our songs now also, even though the occult stuff is mostly dropped. So
Sure. So briefly talking about Final Day, that came out in 2020, and some of my favorite tracks on that album are Forever Blind, Retribution, Juggernaut, which I think Juggernaut has a very Judas Priest sounding style of vocal, even the title. And then, of course, the epic tracks at the end, Flamekeeper, and then the title track. So briefly talk about...
like 6 of the 8 songs.
I know, 6 of the 8, you're right. So that should tell you it's a great album. But
yeah,
tell us, talk a little bit about Final Day.
Well, yeah, basically... after I joined the band, we toured with the old EP songs and stuff like that. And then the Forever Blind song was like hanging around, without vocals. And that's the first song I wrote with the band. And it went through like a couple of different versions, even like we played it at festivals and it was totally different. But yeah, then we got the record deal from High Roller. And we were like, oh man, now we got to really write an album. And then just we had demos and stuff like that, threw them around and hanged around at the rehearsal place with like the whiteboard and, thinking about what we're going to do with it. And started to basically write songs and think about how we're going to record them and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it went quite organically, whatever demos we had, most ended up on the album.
Yeah, because I noticed on both albums, you keep it to about 8 original tracks, a few covers, but it clocks in. The album's 35 to 40 minutes, which is a great time because the songs do capture that essence again of that old traditional heavy metal sound where you can really capture a lot in a 3 to 4 to 5 minute track. I think of a song like Flamekeeper, Flamekeeper, it's really epic, very long. There's a lot of changes in the pace of the song. And it was a really rainy, cold day yesterday by me, and I was in the car, and I was having that one on, and I really enjoyed it. Just felt like it fit the mood of the day.
Yeah, that song was actually written by our previous guitar player, Lassi, who produced also the Final Day album and also Destination Destruction. And it was one that he wrote, and then I just had this image in my head, of course, with the lighthouse and stuff like that, rainy days, storms, and going through that. But that was I think second to last song we actually finished for the album. So.
And that was also the time, of course, of the COVID and the pandemic. So I assume, like so many other bands, you were limited to how many concerts you could play and things like that.
Yeah, I think we played one.
Oh wow!
One show on the following summer. So.
Wow.
So the songs are really fresh to play even now.
Yeah, it's like having 2 albums of new material ready. So Arttu, tell me, when did you join the band? So you did not play on Final Day, but you played on the new album. So when did you come into the band?
It was 2022 February or March. I don't remember, but in the start of 22. It was like Tommy messaged me via email. He had seen some of my drum videos on YouTube and stuff, and it kind of started there. Then Tommy asked if I would want to try out for the band. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And well, I can't really explain it. Here we are right now.
Well, Yeah, I was. It was like supposed to be the tryout for the band, and I think we were. I was having a gig with my cover band the previous day, and we were partying late, late after that show. And the next day at about noon, we went to the rehearsal place, and I was like really hungover, stuff like that. And let's see what the kid can do, stuff like that. And when he started to bang those drums, I was like, oh man, I really have to focus now. Here it comes. So it was like, I think for me, it was like clear from the first song that he's the right guy for the band.
Wow, that's great. In the United States, the drinking age is not until 21. So I don't know what it is in Finland, but you can't even legally drink R2 if you came to US.
Well, that's good. Good for him.
It's great that it's 18 in Finland, so I can get some beer.
Exactly. So, Miika, when you mentioned you have a cover band, what kind of songs do you play in your cover band?
Well, basically anything. It's like hard rock, Guns N' Roses, Priest, whatever. Doobie Brothers.
Doobie Brothers. What Doobie Brothers? What Doobie Brothers songs do you sing?
I don't know. I'm not the singer for those songs, unfortunately.
Oh,
but
okay.
There's been like Steely Dan and stuff like that. And
wow, that's a different twist. Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers. Wow. Okay.
And Judas Priest after that.
Hey, whatever works. I would assume that people that go to clubs and stuff, they are aware of Steely Dan and Doobie Brothers even all the way over there. Then they're popular in Finland.
Yeah, I think they're popular if they're played well.
Exactly.
Nobody knows the songs, perhaps, but.
So when you don't play on those songs, do you play guitar or a different instrument, or do you?
No, I hang around and check what the other guys are doing.
You
or sing some background vocals. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Is there a name of the band? Do you have videos on YouTube?
Yeah, I think there are a couple. It's called The Who. Like HUU. It comes from Helsinki Underground United. We formed it like 10 years ago.
Okay, so not the Who, not the HU, the Mongolian band, and not the Who, the WHO. The
almost like. I think we have stolen the logo from the Who.
Which version of the Who?
Incidentally,
the Roger Daltrey or the other one?
Yeah, but incidentally, we've never played any the Who songs on gigs. So.
Okay, well, maybe that's a challenge for you for next time. So
yeah,
let's see. That's all good and fun. So, guys, this has been a nice introduction to leading up to the new album. So, I want to talk about the new album because I really love it. The first thing I want to ask you about is, number one, the meaning behind the title of the album and the artwork. Because the artwork, Miika, you have it right behind you. I mean, it's cool. It's like these caverns. There's this evil eye coming down, and then kind of what would be above your left shoulder, there's like a little bridge with a bunch of guys walking across it. So what's the significance of the album title and the artwork?
Well, I think the artwork came probably first because I was thinking the themes of the album are like there's religion and like leaders and stuff leading people to their doom, I guess. And so it was like the people are going there willingly as they're walking in the cover shot, going to their imminent demise. So that's where the idea came from. And Dan Goldsworthy, the artist we picked, he's made covers for Accept and Haken and whatnot. But we had the first version of that. He sent us that, and it looked more like people going to work in a factory. And it was like supposed to be like a slaughterhouse. But then Dan was like having I guess some kind of creative crisis with that. And then he started to think like, what if like the whole building was like slaughter, And then he came up with this vision, and the result is like breathtaking. He really did a great job, and couldn't be more thankful. The eye in the sky is like our mascot thing. Eye guy in the sky. It's been on our all cover artworks previously too.
Is there a name for the eye guy in this guy? Does he have a name?
Just the eye guy.
Eye guy. Eye guy.
It's mysterious,
It is.
know.
Well,
but yeah,
it's a good cover.
Yeah, and the title Destination Destruction is basically, we already went to the end of the world on final day, I guess, but things aren't really looking any better now. Even when we were writing the album, there was like really, really bad stuff going on. So it was like, this is where we're heading to destruction. And basically the album tells like a story. So the first track we wrote for the album was Lead the Way. And then we had The Dark Star. And those were the first two songs written for the album. And then it was like basically the guy from the first song is singing the last song also. He was like going to his destruction, whatever he felt like. And the A side of the album is Destruction of the World. And then the basically B side is the destruction of the world and like all the system he created.
Wow. So there is a story and a theme to the album. I was not aware of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's buried there. Don't tell anyone. So
okay. Well, a song
everybody can like make their own assumptions.
Right. But a song like Lead the Way, I mean, there's a performance video out there for it. I love it because I think it's a great like power metal opening song. It's fast. It has a lot of that twin guitar and it's got a big chorus. The video is cool because there's a lot of smoke and I like the maybe the place that you shot it because there's a lot of graffiti on the wall. So Arttu, where do you tell me about the video, your experiences in the video? Where was that shot? Where was it filmed?
It was filmed in Vaajakoski, Jyväskylä, like in the central Finland, Keski-Suomi. It was this old, I don't know what that place has been before, but
probably
now it's
like some boat building place or something.
Yeah. But now it's like just destroyed completely, and we probably got like poisoned there because there's like all this fucking stuff that you shouldn't breathe in. And well, it was a nice place to shoot the music video. I liked it and I think it turned out really good. And yeah, there was a lot of things going on that day. It was a long ass day.
Yeah, and with all that dust and stuff like that, because place has been abandoned for years, and people go there to basically do graffitis and I don't know, drink and do whatever. So it was like there were no permissions or anything, so we just went there with the generators and hooked everything up.
was that outdoors or indoors?
Yeah, it's kind of like in the middle because their windows are all busted and doors being ripped off and a little bit of ceiling was like dropped off.
Were there other people that when they heard you setting up, they came and said, what's going on here? I'm going to check it out.
No, I think the place was pretty remote.
Okay.
Yeah, but my friend who was helping us told me that like 100 meters like away from the location, there was like 10 people looking and thinking like, what the hell is going on there? They were really curious what was happening, but I didn't see them. But there were some people like listening. Why is it so loud? Nobody goes there. It's like empty 90% of the time.
Was there electricity that you could plug in your amplifiers?
No, we brought the generator with us, like that works with gas and
Okay.
like that, so.
Now, was the video for Afterglow also, was that done in the same venue, the same place?
No, that was in Lutakko, like this gig place in Jyväskylä also. So that was just the stage on there, and we hooked a couple of lights there and rocked out. So it was just supposed to be like a simple thing,
Okay. That's another great song, too. I could see why you selected it to be a video because it's very catchy main riff. It's a very accessible song. Big, great guitar solo. And I think what's cool in the video is the neon upside down crosses. So cool. Stands out there.
Yeah, that's the idea. The videos are shot by the same guy, Esa Jussila, who's also like done everything for them. So he had this idea, I think, by chance to put them there, but they looked cool. So
yeah, they definitely cool. So some of the other tracks on the album earlier on, Miika, you mentioned "Swines for Slaughter."
Yeah.
Number one, it's a cool title, and I love it because it's a really cool opening riff, and it's got a really, really big chorus. I hear a lot of influences of Accept in that song, and on your vocal style, especially near the end, maybe you've heard this or not, but I hear a very early young Joe Elliott of Def Leppard in your vocal style. So talk about Swines for Slaughter. Tell me about that track.
Yeah, that was a song, I think, mainly written by Ville, our guitar player. And it had like a faster verse first, but then we changed that to to build up the mood. And I don't know, when I just listened to it, with the bridge parts where we chant the Swines for Slaughter, it was just like, I listened to the song and I started to hear those words in my head. So it was like, what's this going to be about? And of course, with the war situation in the world and stuff like that. So that's where the lyrical stuff comes from, mostly, And there's like the Christmassy thing, like Unholy Night, Oh Holy Night, stuff like that. There were probably some Christmas aficionado can hear the little bit of lyrical influences, but yeah, basically the chorus was also like probably one of the first versions that I came up with. It was just supposed to be like a big anthem, and I think it worked out really well. And yeah, the Joe Elliott thing, I don't know. I'm a Def Leppard fan, so I listened to it a lot when I was younger, and so maybe it comes from there. But basically, all my vocal influences are the screamers and stuff like that. Brian Johnson, Udo Dirk Schneider from Accept, and Joe Elliott. Mostly the earlier stuff of Def Leppard and stuff like that, where he really let it rip. And it's like always in the studio. There's like situations when they're like, you can sing this high, playing the piano, the note. And it reminds me of this awful TV movie. I think it's called Hysteria. I think you can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
About Def Leppard, and there's this part where he's like singing, bringing on the heartbreak, and the producer is like, yeah, you must sing this higher. And he's like, no, I can't go any higher. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And then he just sings it. So
that's funny. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah,
but no, I definitely heard that early Joe Elliott vocal there. So there's a song that I also heard a little bit of Accept or Udo style is No Gods, No Masters. However, what calls attention to this track is the drumming. So Arttu, this one has your signature sound all over it. It's a really heavy song, but it's got a lot of atmosphere. And then there's like this kind of spoken word section in the middle. So Arttu, talk to me about that track.
For my part, it's like it's one of my favorite tracks of the album. I really like how it came out. Firstly, like the spoken part of the track, it was supposed to be like this. I don't remember. It was something like just a basic beat, but then it like transferred into the build up like tom smacking part, and I think it really works. And the whole song, it's really nice how it builds up. First it's like just basic beat, and then on the verse it goes to the double bass stuff. I don't know, there's a lot of things about that track which make it like really big sounding. But of course, I don't know about anything else. I can't speak for the guitarists or anything like that. But I think all the leads and the riffs are really hard hitting on that one.
What is the spoken word, Miika?
Yeah, the spoken word is excerpt from this French writer, Denis Diderot. And basically, I had this, because we're fans of the spoken word stuff in the middle of the songs. And we were like, we didn't actually have that on final day. We got to have it here. And I was thinking, for the No Gods, No Masters, there's this, I think it's like misquoted a lot to the Denis Diderot, that the world isn't free until the last king is hung with the bowels of the last priest. So I started to look into that and did some research and found the Denis Diderot original writing in French, and it was translated for English. So that's where it comes from. And our bass player Joni has this like really cool like spoken word style, and he does that with his other band Chalice also. So he was chosen for that part, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it fit the song really well because, you know, no gods, no masters. Be free.
Yeah. That's I like that one. I mean, actually, every song in the album is good. I can't say there's anything that's we could go through all the tracks. My favorite track, and I don't know why it is, well, I can tell you why it is Kill the Machine, because I just think it's just got that classic riff that a guy like my age, it's just a sweet spot. It's familiar. It's fast. It's got a great chorus. I almost hear a little bit of Paul Di'Anno era Iron Maiden guitar in that sound, and that middle section where incarcerate, exterminate, celebrate. Like that one is just 3.5 minutes. I just kept hitting repeat, repeat, repeat.
So that's where all those listens come from on Spotify. But that's. I think it was chosen between that and one or two other songs that was going to be on the album, but because the band was like founded in those speed metal, stuff like that, make like just boneheaded, like bum 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 bum, stuff like that, and we were like, maybe this album really needs one of those, just like the classic stuff, for rocking out and play live and, just lose your mind and not really think about that much about the messages or stuff like that. So that's where it came from. And of course, the theme comes with the Destination Destruction. It's mentioned on that song, that's where you kill the machine and actually liberate yourselves.
Absolutely. So I love that one. So a few of the other tracks before we talk about your selection of cover songs. So you have Garden of Fire, and then you have Monster Ball. Monsters Ball, I love. It's really heavy with the guitar work. You got that acoustic build up, very melodic to start. It's a mid-paced track, but it's really a place for the guitars to shine. And then Garden of Fire, again, you use the word anthematic. I agree with you. That's an anthematic track. It's got that main riff, big vocals, love the bridge, great solo. So Arttu, want to give you a chance to talk about some of these songs. What's your impression of these tracks?
Well, Garden of Fire, I think there's that reminds me a lot. What was that song called? I do not remember, but it's like very melodic. It has a nice atmosphere in it. Sick guitar leads, and the chorus is, I can't remember the name of the song that it reminds me from, but like it's really like, I think it's more into that power metal side, and not just the basic heavy metal. It goes like it reminds me a bit of like Finnish power metal bands, like Stratovarius or something. The intro lead, especially, and then Monsters Ball. It's like a power ballad.
It's a good way to put it. A power ballad.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, the Garden of Fire was actually wrote by our previous guitar player Lassi, who produced the album. It was one of his songs, and the Garden of Fire, of course, it tells about priests telling you to do whatever, jump on the fire, and the salvation comes, and basically about any leader, people taking it for word of law that this is how it must be done, but yeah, that was I think one of the first tracks for the album. Of course, it was written previously, but a really cool one.
Yeah. What is when you talk about religion, because that's a common thing that a lot of metal bands tend to write about. Like, how would you describe religion in 2023 in Finland? Is it still that people regularly go to church? Do they believe in Christianity and Catholicism? Because in the States, there's a lot of mixed opinions on religion. There's a lot of pros and cons, but what is it like for you and your families?
Well, in Finland, it's not that much, there's not that much devout people like in the cities, but of course, in the countryside and stuff like that, there's a lot of those. But basically, it's still on Finnish government, there's like religious parties, and it still affects our lives like way too much,
Yeah.
Made up stories from 2000 years ago. So it's like, I don't know, that's I guess an easy target, but an important one.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So let's talk about the fun part of the album. It's your 2 extra tracks, your bonus tracks, right? And I got a kick out of the press release when I got it come across my email when it said there's a heavy metal, power metal version of the Power Rangers Go Go Power Rangers song. And the other cover, I studied a little bit German. I'll try it. Es wird viel passieren. It sounds like it's a soap opera in Germany. But most importantly, talk about Power Rangers. Was this a show that you guys watched when you were kids?
Yeah. Well, it came in the 90s when I was like in grade school or something like that, being 9-10 years old or something like that. So of course we watched that and taped it and watched it again and stuff like that. It's like ninjas and robots and dinosaur robots and stuff like that. So what's not to like? And the theme song has always been like a huge favorite whenever we were like on the road, or so we play that song. And actually on Lead the Way, the guitar lead before the chorus and during the chorus is kind of reminiscent of that, actually. So
yeah,
so it's kind of like an influence, and well, it has like big riffs, catchy chorus and cool solos. So it's like fits us like a glove.
Yeah, I like it. It's very, very cool. That's a fun one too. We have a Monday night internet radio show, so I'm going to make sure I tell John, our producer here, to play that one, and Kill the Machine, my favorite. So we'll make sure we get you on our internet radio playlist as well.
Yeah, thanks. Much appreciated.
Yeah. And what about the other track, the German track? What is the story behind that?
Yeah, that comes also from the childhood, In the 90s, they used to show the Marienhof, or Marienhof. However, my German isn't that good, but but they played that, and it was like after school, whenever you finished, whenever you got to home, the show was starting, and you listen to the theme song, like, yeah, cool song, and then turn it off for the rest of the show. And that's also one that we like listen to a lot during like whenever we're at the rehearsal place or drinking beer or whatnot. So, and we were thinking about covering that song like earlier also, but now it seemed like a proper time for that.
Okay. When you mentioned beer, it sounds like you guys love your beer. Is there a popular kind of beer from Finland that you would recommend to somebody in the U.S.?
No, Finnish beer is kind of
all good.
No, all good. Any beer. I have like Bud here.
Bud, American beer, Budweiser.
I was thinking that.
Well,
American interview, American beer.
That's exactly it. I like the spirit behind that. Have you done any other American interviews? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think a couple.
Okay, good. Well, listen, the album is classic. It's out now. It's out on Steamhammer SPV here in the States. But let's talk about hitting the road. Do you guys have any plans to do any concerts or do a tour?
Yeah, plans are always there. We have a show coming up in Finland this Saturday and then one later in December. But we're now booking shows for next March throughout the Europe and then for the summer festivals and stuff like that. And of course, for the next fall. So let's see how it goes, because last time it was the COVID and now there's like war raging in Europe. So let's see what happens. But the plans are there.
Oh, that's good. Well, I hope that you get some exposure out there and you get to play this really good music and get the band showcased. I wish you could come over here. That's not going to be easy, but I'm sure you guys are a great band and it would be great to see you live. So before we end this, I wanted to ask you something completely non-music related, but I'm a big American hockey fan. I follow the NHL, and I was looking it up the other day. There's a lot of famous Finnish players that play in the NHL. Alexander Barkov, Mikko Rantanen, Sebastian Aho, Esa Lindell are maybe the four bigger ones. Do you guys follow American hockey and follow your home country guys?
No, not anymore. Not since I think Teemu Selänen quit there. Something like that. But yeah, I used to watch NHL games when I was a kid, and my favorite goalie was Ed Belfour from Chicago Blackhawks. And
yes, Ed Belfour, he's Canadian. He's not from Finland.
Yeah, but that was my favorite. He had the coolest mask. Actually found the collection of cards, the hockey cards.
Uh-huh.
And I have 38 of Ed Belfour cards in my closet.
Cool.
How about you, Arttu?
Skeletons in my closet.
Yeah, I follow the NHL quite a lot. Especially the last two seasons. This season I haven't checked it out that much, but I play the video games, the NHL games. Okay. That's what I do.
Okay, you play NHL 24 or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite team in the U.S. in the NHL?
Not in the U.S. Canada, it's got to be Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
But if I would say one from the U.S., it's probably Dallas Stars.
Okay. Well, that's where Esa Lindell plays.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Well, it's good. Well, we love our hockey in the U.S., and it's such a global sport, so it's always fun to talk to some guys from a different part of the world that you have guys that we are familiar with. So it was funny. John and I attended the Metallica shows in August in New Jersey, and I was talking to somebody in one of the hospitality rooms and they said, well, how do you know the guys from Metallica? And we told them, well, we have these connections through their management. And I asked the same question, and it comes to find out that this girl was personal friends with Jani Nieminen, who's, I think, also a Finnish hockey player from back in the day, who became really good friends with James Hetfield just from seeing the bands back in Finland in maybe the 80s and 90s. So how the hockey worlds and the metal worlds cross together always. Yeah. So, guys, this has been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I wish you the best for a success on this album and, of course, a great Christmas and New Year's. Miika, tell us about the socials of the band. Where can we find out about everything about Satan's Fall?
Well, you can, of course, join our Facebook group, Instagram, of course, satansfall.fi and whatnot. But mainly social media, that's where it's at these days. Not yet TikTok, but I don't know. Okay, maybe we'll get around to that.
Hey, maybe you need to make a video and put it on TikTok. It's all the rage.
Yeah, that's the rage.
Hey, Arttu's only 19. He knows.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah,
he'll do the dance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks again, and we'll talk to you down the line. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Metal for Life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.